Okay, so this next piece we'll get into using it's right up here, this define target aliasing tool. This is another tool that's helpful to connect corridors together. It's using the templates that we showed how to set up before. So what it does is, instead of point controlling corridors to each other, we can tell the template to look for a specific point and then specify that that point is another corridor. So I'll show an example here. This is that same Gore. We added the Gore using point controls. I'll show how we can attach it to both sides here using targeting. So the big difference here is it requires a separate corridor and using that template that we set up to do this. So I'll create my new corridor. Doesn't super matter. I'll use the alignment baseline for this. We'll reset for the active profile. That's fine. We'll call it Gore. It's going to we'll use our Gore template we set up for targeting. I'm not going to be too precise with this, but we'll have it go from here. And we'll snap it there. So now it dropped this little piece in here, just a little pavement wedge. It doesn't really know what to connect to, so it doesn't look right yet, but we'll fix that by using targeting. So using our corridor objects, we can see here's our template drop. There's nothing in here yet, but the first step to targeting is we need to add the corridors that we want it to look for as external references. So that helps define and list what it can actually look for. It doesn't look for everything in the file. So we'll add new. Well, again, I think this is easier to do in the 3D. I'm going to want to attach to this point, this right EOP, and this point, this left EOP on the main line. So we'll reset, and now they'll show up in our corridor object box. Ramp B, right EOP, and our main line left. Perfect. So now we can get rid of that. Now our setup is done, we can use this targeting tool. So we'll define our target aliasing. It asks me to select a corridor. I want to use this little Gore corridor here we have, and it'll pop up with this box. So this is where we define the targets. So it will list the seek points for our template. So this is what we would have set up in the template. Jeremy had an example for it last time. I called mine my right tie and my left tie. So we'll do the right side first. So this is the right-hand side of the Gore. We want to tie it to this left of the main line. So we'll add that as an alias. We'll hit apply, and there that side worked. We've snapped there, and we can do the same thing on the left with the ramp and apply, and that will shift this point. And now, using only those tools, we've now got our Gore tied together. It's the same benefits as using the point controls. It's dynamic. As these ramps move, as these alias feature lines move, it's tied to that, so it'll follow it wherever it goes. And now we have a Gore. Some of the benefits, I think, of targeting is that you can kind of see from this box, we can add however many different targets we want, and it'll go down the list, or we can do whatever's the closest. So I usually don't love to do it this way, doing the linears, because it'll show a lot of stuff. This might actually lag me for a second, but it'll show a bunch of different features and surface points in my model now. So this is a useful piece if we, this is a divided highway. If we had grading in the middle, you can say, I want your first target to be, or I want your targets to be our existing ground, or, if this is our westbound, say we had an eastbound, I can have them target each other. So our end condition will fill, I guess Jeremy will show an example of this soon, it will fill to each other instead of, crossing or finding existing ground. One of the benefits as well is it will, if you have a list here, it'll find any of them. So an example, I've done a project where we had a main line and we had emergency vehicle pullout. So you can do your basic mainline corridor, run it down your alignment. We can attach the vehicle pullouts to find our edge of pavement. Those will snap just like this Gore did to the edge. We can add our shoulder pavement to the end of that. It will find those vehicle pullouts first, and second the main line. So it will look normal when there's a vehicle pullout. It'll flip, and it allows you to, I think, use those point controls a little bit easier than trying to set up the priority in there and have them overlapping or anything. It allows you a little bit more freedom to pick where it snaps in a list. The kind of upfront work it takes may seem a little overwhelming, but once you kind of get the hang of using those seek points to find your targets and snap to it, I think it's a really easy way to connect corridors and control those things. So again, that's just kind of a quick example of adding our Gore, and we can stop this